Hello my dear student, hope you are fine. Today I will discuss about an important topic from your thorax card. Maybe some of you already studied it at your tutorial classes. The topic is lung. Today I will discuss about the gross anatomy of the lung. Hopefully you will get some valuable information from this presentation. So let's see. My dear student, let's start lung. So what is lung? Lungs are a pair of respiratory organs situated in the thoracic cavity. Right and left lung are separated by the mediastinum. Lungs are covered by visceral and the parietal pleura. In texture, they are spongy. Their color, in case of newborn, it is pink, young adult brown, and adult molten black due to the deposition of the carbon particles. Weight, right lung 600 grams and left lung a little less, 550 grams. These are the picture of lungs. We can see pink color lung, the very young adult, spongy in shape and extreme of age, or sometimes commonly seen in the smokers, the lung black with carbonaceous particles just deposited underlying the visceral pleura. Now let us see some of the features of the lung. Each lung is conical in shape. It has an apex at the upper end and a base that is resting on the diaphragm, three borders: anterior border, then posterior border and inferior border, and two surfaces: costal surface that we cannot see in this picture, that is actually opposite side, and the medial surface, which is obviously over here. The medial surface is divided into a anterior mediastinal surface, over here we can see, and the posterior vertebral surface. This is the vertebral surface and this is the mediastinal surface. Now in this picture we can see the fissures and the lobes. In case of right lung, there are two fissures. One is oblique fissure, another one is horizontal fissure. At the left lung, one fissure, that is the oblique fissure. And as there are two fissures, so in case of right lung there are three lobes: upper lobe, middle lobe and the lower lobe. At the same time, in case of left lung, due to the presence of one fissure, two lobes: upper lobe and the lower lobe. Now the apex of the lung. Apex is blunt. It lies above the level of the anterior end of the first rib. We can see over here, this is the first rib. It lies above the first rib. It reaches 1 to 2 centimeter above the medial 1/3 of the clavicle, and it is covered by the cervical pleura and the suprapleural membrane, the green color suprapleural membrane. Another name is Simpson's fascia. And the apex is related anteriorly or grouped by subclavian artery and the subclavian vein. We can see over here. Now the base of the lung, semilunar and concave, as we have seen before, rest on the domes of the diaphragm. The right sided dome is slightly higher than the left dome. This is the diaphragm. The base is located over the domes. Anterior border is the sharpest border, directed anteromedially. It extends from the lower aspect of the apex up to inferior border. It corresponds to the anterior, that is the costomediastinal line of the pleural reflection. It is deeply notched in the left lung posterior to the fifth costal cartilage by the pericardium, and that notch is called the cardiac notch. It extends vertically downwards to form lingula. This is called the cardiac notch. Over here we can see this is the cardiac notch, and this bend, this area is called the lingula. Now the posterior border is thick and ill-defined. It fits into deep paravertebral gutter that we will discuss later on. It extends from the cervical 7 to thoracic 10 vertebra. The inferior border is thin and sharp. We can see over here. It separates the base of the lung from the costal surface and the mediastinal surface. Obviously, this border is separating the base from the mediastinal surface, and on the other side the costal surface. The surfaces of the lung at the costal surface, that is related with the costal pleura, ribs and the costal cartilages, and the medial surface, which is having two surfaces, anterior mediastinal surface related to the different structure, we will discuss it, and the posterior vertebral surface related with the thoracic vertebra with the intervertebral disc, and the posterior intercostal vessels and the splenic nerve. These are the relation of the mediastinal surface. Especially in case of right lung, it is related with the right atrium over here, that is called the cardiac impression due to the presence of the right atrium. Then a small part of the right ventricle, a little below, right ventricle is over here. Superior vena cava over here, this impression is for the superior vena cava. Right brachiocephalic vein is over here, this is the right brachiocephalic vein, and this groove that is arching over the hilum, this is the actually groove for the zygous vein. Then behind, this will be the groove for the esophagus. Below it, over here, there will be the groove for the inferior vena cava. Then in front, the hilum, there will be a groove, or actually no groove actually, because there is a nerve. The nerve is phrenic nerve in front of the hilum, and behind the hilum there will be the right vagus nerve. So two nerves are related. In front the hilum, phrenic; behind the hilum, vagus. In case of left lung, the mediastinal surface is related with the left ventricle, that is the cardiac impression due to the presence of the left ventricle over here. Then the pulmonary trunk is related over here. Pulmonary trunk. Then arch of aorta, this is the arch of aorta, followed by the descending aorta. We can see a very deep seated groove over here. Then left subclavian artery, this is the groove for the left subclavian artery. Left brachiocephalic vein over here. Then again in front of the hilum there will be the left phrenic nerve, and behind the hilum there will be the left vagus nerve. And also there will be impression for the thoracic duct close to it. And a nerve which is not actually showing any sorts of groove, but it is present, that is the left recurrent laryngeal nerve. Now what is the hilum of the lung? It is a large depressed area that lies near the center of the medial surface, through which various structures enter and leave the lung via lung root. Then what is the root of the lung? the number of structure enclosed by the tubular sheath of mediastinal pleura that enter or exit through the hilum. That pleura extends inferiorly as a narrow fold called the pulmonary ligament. The root lies opposite to the bodies of the 5th, 6th and 7th thoracic vertebra. So the main difference between the hilum and the root is the area through which the different structures are entering or leaving. That area is particularly the hilum, but the structure who are entering or leaving are combinedly called the root. So what is the structure passing through the root? Principal bronchus. In case of left side, there will be one single principal bronchus. On the right side, the principal bronchus are immediately divided into epiatrial and the hypatrial bronchus. We can see at the right lung epiatrial bronchus and the hypatrial bronchus. One pulmonary artery. We can see the pulmonary artery over here and also over here. Two pulmonary veins, superior and inferior. These are the pulmonary vein. This is the superior pulmonary vein and the inferior pulmonary vein. Over here, superior and the inferior pulmonary vein. Bronchial arteries, one on the right side and the two on the left side, which are not that much pronounced over here, but they are present. Bronchial veins as well, anterior and the posterior pulmonary plexus of nerve, lymphatics and bronchopulmonary lymph nodes, and areolar tissues. These are the structure that is present as a root at the hilum of the lung. Then arrangement of the structure at the root. Before backwards, the first thing that comes is the superior pulmonary vein. So first, this is the vein that lies most anteriorly. Then immediate after the vein, the artery, pulmonary artery lies, and most posteriorly the bronchus lies. So in case of both lung, right or left, the most anteriorly will be the pulmonary vein, then pulmonary artery, then bronchus. But if you consider from above downwards, in case of right lung, the first will be the epiatrial bronchus, then the pulmonary artery itself, then hypatrial bronchus, and then pulmonary vein. In case of left lung, most above will be the pulmonary artery, then the bronchus, and then the vein. The pictures are not that much accurate, but you should remember the pattern above downwards. Now the fissures of the lung, oblique fissure and the horizontal fissure. The oblique fissure begins posteriorly at the level of the 5th thoracic vertebra. It passes anterior-inferiorly in a spiral course to meet the inferior margin close to the 6th costochondral junction. The horizontal fissure, it extends from the anterior margin at the level of the 4th costal cartilage. It runs horizontally backwards to meet the oblique fissure in the mid-axillary line. These are the fissures. These are the oblique fissure. This is the horizontal fissure. One of the important point is that visceral pleura extends deep into the fissure. That means visceral pleura not only enclosing the lung, but also it is entering through the fissure. So if you just open the fissure, you can see that still the surface is glassy due to the presence of the visceral pleura. This fissure facilitates the movement of the lobes in relation to one another, which accumulates greater distension and movement of the lobes during respiration. Due to the presence of this fissure, these lobes are inflated with air individually. Now what is bronchopulmonary segment? The definition has to be more specific. So this definition is 100% appropriate and well established. Structurally separated, functionally independent, well defined sectors of the lung tissue aerated by tertiary or segmental bronchus is called bronchopulmonary segments. Total 10 bronchopulmonary segments are present in each lung. Each segment is surrounded by connective tissue which is continuous on the surface with pulmonary pleura. Thus, the bronchopulmonary segments are independent respiratory unit. That means each bronchopulmonary segments are separated from each other by the connective tissues, and that's why they can work individually or they can work as a respiratory unit. So what is pulmonary unit? The connective tissue septa between adjacent segments of the intersegment forms the intersegmental planes. That means in between the two bronchopulmonary segments there is a connective tissue septa that is called the intersegmental planes, which are crossed by the pulmonary vein. We can see over here the pulmonary vein or the intersegmental veins are passing through the intersegmental planes or the connective tissue septa. Thus each segment has more than one vein and each vein drains more than one segment. That means as these veins are present in between the segments, one segment is having this vein on either side, we can see, and this vein not only supplying this segment but also supplying this segment as well. So one vein is supplying more than one segment, but one segment is having more than two veins. On the other hand, the branches of the pulmonary artery lies dorsolateral to the bronchus. This is the pulmonary artery which lies dorsolateral to the bronchus. Thus each segment has its own separate branch of pulmonary artery. So a single segment is having its own artery, but a single segment is having two pulmonary veins on either side. This total area or arrangement is called the pulmonary unit. Now the bronchopulmonary segments, as they are depending on the segmental bronchus, we can see the things in this way. First of all, principal bronchus, then in case of right lung, upper lobar bronchus, middle lobar bronchus and the lower lobar bronchus, and from the lobar bronchus there will be the segmental bronchus which are apical, posterior, anterior for the upper lobe. For the middle lobe it will be medial segmental bronchus and the lateral segmental bronchus, and for the lower lobe it will be apical basal, anterior basal, posterior basal, medial basal and the lateral basal. But in case of the left lung, the principal bronchus is having two lobar bronchus, upper lobar bronchus and the lower lobar bronchus. In case of upper lobar bronchus, there will be upper segmental bronchi and the lower segmental bronchi. At the upper segmental bronchi it will have apical, posterior and anterior, but the lower segmental bronchi will have superior lingular and the inferior lingular, and the lower lobe is having segmental bronchi which are pretty much similar like right lung, apical basal, anterior basal, posterior basal, medial basal and the lateral basal. So this is the picture that I have drawn for you. You will never see this picture in internet or any book. This picture is 100% correct, so try to follow it. In case of left lung, for the upper lobe which are green over here, is having apical. This is the medial view, this is the lateral view. Then posterior, can you see that anterior is not number 2, posterior is having number 2, then anterior. Then the superior lingular 4, inferior lingular 5. So this is the upper lobe. And in case of lower lobe, it will have apical basal, then anterior basal, then medial basal, lateral basal and the posterior basal. If you follow the consequence or sequence, then apical basal, after that you should say medial basal, then anterior basal, then lateral basal, then the posterior basal. Over here the same. In case of right lung, 3 lobes, apical, posterior, anterior at the upper lobe. The middle lobe, it will be medial and lateral, and in case of lower lobe, it is apical, anterior, or then medial basal, then anterior basal, then lateral basal, then the posterior basal. In your professional exam, this question will come, then draw and level the bronchopulmonary segments of the right lung or the left lung in both views. Now, what is the importance of the bronchopulmonary segments? It works as an individual lung unit. It prevents spread of infection from one segment to another segment by connective tissue barrier. Except lung tuberculosis and carcinoma, this barrier is distorted. It helps as a guideline during the bronchoscopic examination. Posterior segment of the upper lobe and the apical segment of the lower lobe is commonest site for the lung abscess. It helps in postural drainage of pus from each segment individually. Surgical removal of any segment is possible due to its individuality. So, if you are having lung cancer in the particular segment, that segment can be removed without hampering the functions of the other segments because they are individual structurally and functionally. That's the benefit. Now the bronchial tree, another picture I have drawn for you. Bronchial tree are the actually a long tree that is present from the conducting zone to the respiratory zone. Conducting zone through which the air is only transmitting, but in case of respiratory zone, the air is actually exchanging the gases in between the pulmonary blood and the air itself. That means oxygen and carbon dioxide exchange will happen in the respiratory zone. So what will be the conducting zone? First of all, trachea, then right and left principal bronchus, which is also called the primary bronchus. Then there will be lobar bronchus. For the right lung it will be 3 and for the left lung it will be 2. Then segmental or the tertiary bronchus, that will be present 10 for the both lungs. And then there will be terminal bronchiole, and then it will be respiratory bronchiole, alveolar duct, atria, alveolar sac and the alveoli. So from the respiratory bronchiole to the alveoli, this is the respiratory zone or the respiratory unit. So artery supply of the lung. The bronchial arteries supply the nutrition to the bronchial tree and to the pulmonary tissue. So the main artery supply is coming from the bronchial artery. These are small arteries that vary in number, size and origin, but usually they are as follows. On the right side, there is one bronchial artery which arises either from the third posterior intercostal artery or from the upper left bronchial artery. On the left side, there are two bronchial arteries, both of which arise from the descending thoracic aorta, the upper opposite fifth thoracic vertebra, and the lower just below the left bronchus. Whatever, it is coming from the descending thoracic aorta. Deoxygenated blood is brought to the lung by the pulmonary arteries, and oxygenated blood is returned to the heart by the pulmonary veins. So these are the peculiarities where the artery is carrying the deoxygenated blood and the vein is carrying the oxygenated blood. So what about the venous drainage of the lung? The venous blood from the first 1 or 2 division of the bronchi is carried by the bronchial veins. Usually there are 2 bronchial veins on each side. The right bronchial vein will drain into the azygos vein. On the left bronchial vein, it drains into either the left superior intercostal vein or into the hemiazygos vein. The greater part of the venous blood from the lungs is drained by the pulmonary veins. Then the lymphatic drainage of the lung. This is a little bit complicated, but try to follow this simple method. Initially, we can divide the lymphatic drainage into 2 sets, superficial set and the deep set. The superficial set or the subpleural set, they drain the lymph from the peripheral lung tissue, especially just beneath the pleura. The vessel then pass round the border of the lung and margins of the fissures to reach to the hilum, where the superficial set of lymphatics drain into the bronchopulmonary lymph node. On the other hand, in case of deep set, they are draining the lymph from the bronchial tree, the pulmonary vessels, and also the connective tissue septus. Then they run towards the hilum, where they will drain these lymph into the pulmonary node within lung substance. Then from the pulmonary node, it will go into the bronchopulmonary lymph node at the hilum of the lung, which was also present in case of superficial set. The superficial set ends in the bronchopulmonary lymph node. So the deep set is also going to the bronchopulmonary lymph node. And from the bronchopulmonary lymph node, it will go into the tracheobronchial lymph node at the bifurcation of the trachea. And finally, at the bronchomediastinal lymph trunk, where this trunk will end at the left side to the thoracic duct, and at the right side it will end in the right lymphatic duct. So, superficial set and the deep set from the lung substance all are going to the bronchomediastinal lymph nodes, tracheobronchial lymph node, and ultimately the thoracic duct at the left side and the right lymphatic duct at the right side. Then the nerve supply of the lung. Lung is organ, so it should have autonomic innervation, sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The parasympathetic nerve is coming from the vagus nerve. These fibers are motored to the bronchial smooth muscle and stimulate causes bronchospasm. It also is a secretomotor fiber, so the vagus nerve is supplying the lung to release the mucosal gland to release mucus that is actually increased secretion, and it has the sensory power. So the sensory fibers are responsible for the stress reflex of the lung and for the cough reflex. So any sorts of irritation within the lung can cause cough reflex, and also parasympathetic is causing the bronchospasm and increased secretion that can hamper your normal breathing. So in case of sympathetic innervation, it is doing the just opposite, but they are coming from the second to fifth thoracic segment of the spinal cord, and they are inhibitory to the smooth muscle, so they are causing the bronchodilation, and also they are inhibitory to the mucosal gland, so they will reduce the bronchial secretion. So both parasympathetic and the sympathetic nerves, first from the anterior and the posterior pulmonary plexus, situated in front and behind the root of the lungs, and from these plexus of nerves distributed to the lung along the blood vessels and the bronchi. So these nerve plexus are mainly following the blood vessels to reach into the destinated site. So that's all. Thank you very much for your patience hearing. There are a lot of things that can be discussed, but it is a short presentation. Hopefully you will have some information regarding the lung. So if you have any queries, feel free to share your opinion, your comments, your queries and questions to the comment section where this video has been uploaded. Thank you very much. Take care.